And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our third broadcast of the night. Our third broadcast of the night. We're alive, Papi. We made it, Papi. We made it. There have been back-to-back 3 broadcasts here with the ESL Masters Winter Qualifiers. We started things off with the Asia Qualifier. We had the European Qualifier a couple of hours ago, and now we are live with the final one, with the Americas Qualifier. You know, gotta take pride where we can, as of course I did notice actually as we went live that we are not only the only casters that covered 2 regions, we are the only casters that covered all 3 as well, of course. 3 and then even 2, and yeah, we're gonna be doing so throughout the entire weekend, Papi. All 3 regions back to back to back, one after the other. Of course, we're here with the Americas regionals, and to kind of bring it all back here to give a bit of an explanation, in the past we did have the North America region and the Latin America region, but this year the regions have been merged into the Americas. So we have Latin America in combination with North America, and as a result we have lineups like this. We have EON versus Kozan coming up first. This is going to be a best of 3, and 4 players will make it into the closed qualifiers tonight. It is a brutal cutthroat matchup here, a brutal cutthroat bracket, I should say, as only 4 players will make it out. A lot of amazing players from North America and Latin America have come together. !B in the chat if you guys wish to have a look at the bracket, and then we can delve into it a little bit later on, as we have our first best of 3 spawning in the top left-hand corner of site Delta. We have the American Terran player representing Team Gosu. It is Kozan. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Costa Rican Zerg player representing Team License to Kill, LTK. It is EON. The best in all of Costa Rica up against Kozan, a TVZ, and again, a big fan of these 2 players. We have been casting them for many years at this point. It's great to see Kozan returning. Did take a bit of time off, if I'm not mistaken, from competitive play, or I say time off, there just haven't been as many events to cover. That of course does allow these players to compete, so it's great to see them returning here for the qualifiers for the regionals. Isn't it technically broadcast in the morning? True, it is 8 a.m. It is 8 a.m. here in the morning. Let's go. As interesting, we do have a pool first here from EON. Let's go. Okay, so EON going to be going for an interesting opener. Now, EON, I would say the cheesiest Zerg player in Latin America. He's wild, he's crazy, and he's very in your face. So it's going to be a pool hatch gas opener here from our Zerg player, and we'll see what this is for. To me, this screams safetyness. This shuts down any kind of proxy play. We do have 6 lings in production though, so we're actually going to be sending these lings across the map, looking to deny this natural base, looking to delay it at least, and wreak a bit of havoc. Meanwhile, we do have an SCV scout coming across the map from Kozan. He will be able to recognize the late hatchery, and he should be able to return back home here with this Reaper. Now, what is scary about this, because we do have to respect these lings and we do have to take it seriously here with this Reaper, is that this will mean it's going to be difficult to scout whether or not we have a Roach Warren behind this. This could be like a faster gas opener instead, and we could be rushing towards Roaches or even a Bane Bust. So Kozan needs to get a read on things, needs to get an eye on things, as he does go for a follow-up scout into the main base, as the SCV will fall. Behind this, the lings are getting across the map. They're going to go the long way around, but because the lings got scattered earlier, because Kozan is fully aware of the pool first, he is waiting at home. He's waiting for those lings, and the Overlord does confirm this, so EON should not go in. Behind this, we have link speed on the way, and interesting, we do not pull out a gas. Very interesting decision here out of EON. Because we're staying in, this could lead into a couple of different things, whether it's roaches, fast lair, or even a baleen nest. They're all possible here for EON. Meanwhile, the lings, they do slip on into that natural base. They do delay the CC, but they do not get a kill on that SCV. Oh, they don't kill one, but they do kill another. And SCV will go down. Good stutter stepping out of Kozan, and oh, he barely loses out in that fight, but he cleans up the Lings with the last worker, and he can go back to, or he can resume building this CC, but it has been quite heavily delayed by a good couple of seconds here. There was no CC, there was no orbital, there was no mining going on to the natural. This did do some damage. Not an insane amount of damage, but damage nonetheless. Again, I'm still really curious as to what is this gas going to be for, as we are up to 200 gas at this point, and when we're talking about EON, it's not without good reason. Meanwhile, Kozan in the main base is going for a 3cc 111 opener, 3cc before starport, I should say. The starport has been delayed in favor of a faster third, so a very economic opener here out of Kozan is going to be catching up, even though his CC has been delayed because of the faster third base. Should be able to get everything back up and running without too much issue. Across the map, Hellion dives into the natural as well. Again, we're looking for a follow-up scouts, but we aren't able to see too much as additional gases are already being taken, and we are going into roaches. Should be seeing a lair momentarily just so we can get into roach speed. So EON again is going to be playing roach ravager to begin with. I believe link speed has resource, so he's going to have at least a couple of links to help defend. Behind this, we are going into banshees. Okay, so it's going to be a banshee follow-up. We haven't committed into something like cloak yet. Banshees are on the way nonetheless, looking for map control, and banshees are ideal, especially against roaches. Roaches, they don't shoot up. They don't shoot up, they can only shoot down, and banshees are going to be able to chase them down and hunt them down, and again, be a solid anchor point and defense here for Kozan. Meanwhile, EON didn't make a lair. What I mean by that, there's no lair, there's no additional tech, we're not droning. This isn't just a roach-based opener. This is an all-in. We have 4 more overlords on the way for EON, and he's going to be amassing nothing but lings and roaches. He's going to be sending everything across the map to look to end the game. Oh boy, can Kozan survive this? I do think, again, the banshees are going to help a lot, but I believe only a single banshee was made. And EON, he is not going to slow down, not anytime soon. Here we go. Ravagers are making their way across the map. Banshee does spot this, and we're going to be able to chip away at these, at least some of these Ravagers for the time being. Ugh, but alas, actually we don't get a single shot off. EON sending everything across the map. What do we have at home to defend? We have a couple of Marines in the main base. Stim is still on the way. No bunkers, by the way. Bunkers just now being thrown down, but this is a late reaction out of Kozan. The wall has been brought down. The Ravagers flood on for the Lings as well. The wall is no longer a wall. Boys are being pulled. Oh, and this is getting out of hand. This is getting out of control. The Hellions went down as well. The Banshee just wasn't able to add to this. Kozan just misreading the situation, completely out of position, and every single worker will fall in the natural base. We have a tank in the back line that's putting in a lot of work, but we're getting into the main. We're getting into the main. We're getting on top of the tank. The Biles! Banshee is able to dodge the bars at least, but the tank falls, and now we're camping the production. The damage has already been done. E-bays are taken down. The upgrades are denied. More boys are being pulled. And from here, EON is droning. From here, he is ahead enough where he can just saturate his bases and focus on the next step on a longer game. And Kozan, he's down to only 16 SCVs. Very limited mining going on. Eventually these things will be cleaned up. I do think that we're overextending a little bit. EON actually going to be threatening the main mineral line and disrupting more of the economy. He wants another SCV. He's gonna get it. And as the dust settles, oh my god, can we get a kill on this orbital? No shot. He's going for it. He's going for the orbital, and it's burning down as we speak. Can we mule? Can we repair? Can we keep this alive? Not too sure if we can. Behind this, EON, he droned up a little bit. He droned up to 44. We have a hydrogen on the way. GG gets called, and EON will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. Very well played. Again, EON just going for a massive massive Ravager ling all in. And unfortunately, Kozan, he wasn't able to get a read on it. He wasn't able to recognize what was happening until it was too late. I'd assumed that maybe the Banshee had spotted the move out and then Kozan would be able to start preparing back at home. But again, it was a late reaction out of Kozan, a very late read on what was happening, and he was caught with his pants down. Speaking of being caught with your pants down, a big shout out to someone in the chat. A big shout out to Jeff Bezos for subscribing 3 months in a row for 6 months in total. Thank you, Papi. Thank you. We do appreciate the support. Always appreciate the support. Thank you. As again, Jeff Bezos has been supporting us for quite a number of months already. Again, all the money that we make here on the channel goes towards our events, goes towards our tournaments, it goes towards events like Grand Platypus Open, Sparkling Tuna Cup, and the Tenacious Turtle Tussle as well. So we appreciate it, and I'm sure the players appreciate it as well. Thank you. As we're getting into game number 2. And because everything started so quickly and things were escalating very quickly as well, I wasn't quite able to set up the predictions, but we will have predictions for our next series. Not quite for our first one, but for the next one, we will open up predictions to the chat. Gah, from Asia to EU to now America. Light is erecting whole day, whole night here. Ay. We're going all night long, Papi. We're the only ones that can do it. Yeah. Let's go. The power of the duck. It stands strong. As we're getting into this and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the American Terran player representing Team Gosu down in the series, but not out. It is Kozan. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have his opponent that's currently leading the series 1-0, 1 game away from advancing on into the next round, representing Team License to Kill, the best player in all of Costa Rica. It is EON. I see Rocker in the chat letting us know that he is very much retired. Yeah, I was putting it lightly earlier. I was mentioning how we just haven't really been able to see too much of Kozan recently, but it's good to see him again. It is good to see players like Kozan, like Scrubbles. Like, there are so many players in the bracket that we rarely get to see in a lot of these online events. They come out of the woodwork when it comes to the regional qualifiers, most of them just to meet up with everyone again and enjoy the community and enjoy themselves and have a good time. So I'm always here for it, always here for casting and cheering for Kozan. Always, buddy, always. So yeah, thanks for the additional information. As for now, EON is this time going for a hatch first, but an interesting variation. It's going to be a hatch pool hatch opener. Gasless opener here out of EON. Very greedy. This is something that we've seen on maps like Ratasit Station, of course, which is very turtly and very defensible. But on a map like Hecate, bold move here out of EON. And Kozan, can he get a read on what is going on? Can he recognize what exactly EON is up to? Those wondering, EON basically is delaying his gases. He's delaying his gases, and with that extra resources, he is getting a faster third base. As a result, he will have late link speed, late roaches, late tech in general, and this means that Kozan can have map control, and he can take advantage of EON, or he can try to, once he realizes what is going on. For now, Reaper dipping in, gonna try and get a couple of worker kills, and is under no threat from these things. But the Queen is about to pop out, so the boys are being pulled with the arrival of the Queen. Reaper does have to back off and does get eyes on the third base that is almost done. It's almost done. It's just crazy, Papi, crazy. Upon seeing this, EON is going for a third CC before Starport, so again, an economic opener, very similar to the previous game, but EON is kind of matching him and even exceeding him in this greed. And we'll see if he can be punished for it. EON is going to be taking 2 gases at once to catch up in the gas income. He may even, typically when players open up gasless like this, they actually skip link speed entirely and they go straight into roach production. Doesn't have to go into an all-in, but regardless, roaches should be on the way regardless. We'll see. We'll see what kind of direction EON decides to go in. As for now, Hellions are on the way. Again, Hellions can actually do quite well harassing because there are no lings. If they can make their way past the Queens, these Hellions, they can get out of hand. But there is that Roach Horn that we were talking about. Again, it happens a lot in ZvZ, most commonly, and whenever it happens in another matchup, typically gasless openers do lead into just Roach rushes like this. As Kozan is going for the same opener, 3cc before Starport into Banshee production, of course. Hellions are coming out. Hopefully this time Kozan is able to get a better read on what exactly his opponent is up to. Reaper dips into the main base, does get eyes on the Roach Horn, and the gas is being taken. So he is now aware that EON is playing with roaches. EON also cutting workers early on at 37. Very early timing here to cut workers. 9 roaches, 11 roaches are now on the way, and this tells us that EON is going for a massive push. Lair is thrown down behind this, so this is not all in, and there we go, we are droning, but 11 roaches, that's still quite a lot to work with. I'm curious if he's going to move out or not. Meanwhile, the Hellions, they run past the roaches, but the roaches, they popped out just in time to shut down these Hellions. They're going to get a couple of drones. 3 workers will line up. Oh. Just barely. But the Hellions go down, and now we can go for a big counterattack. Now remember, this time we're not committed. This time we're droning. We're saturating our bases. We're getting a lair. We have spores on the way. Queens are spreading creep. EON is macroing. He's just really trying to scare Kozan, maybe even force an overreaction. We do have a wall, a tank, and Kozan should be okay. The Banshee does move out across the map, unfortunately, so it's not here to pick away at these roaches. Instead, we're looking for some counter damage, and we may be able to find some. As the Queens are in position, the roaches, they push on 4, they do take down the bunker. Oh, but we don't want to go on any further than that. We will get some SCVs. Oh my god, 3 SCVs go down. At the same time, 2 drones go down across the map. The Banshee is getting damage done. 2 workers, we can even actually get some damage done on the Roach Horn itself. But the Banshee should be forced away, should be forced back. Okay, the Unisol stab here, you can see 5 drones going down in total, 9 roaches as well. Honestly, a pretty efficient fight. Kozan barely losing any gas. So very nice defense here. I do think it was an overextension out of EON. I didn't mind him killing the bunker. I did mind him pushing further than that. Into tank fire, the roaches were thrown away, and that was a big investment into the gas. Behind this, EON is actually setting up into Roach Hydra. Hydra Den on the way, Infestation Pit as well. If this was dark, I would assume it's roaches into lurkers. That is a little bit more viable, and that is on the table here for EON as well. He may be looking to get into or rush into Lunker tech. Again, Lunkers, they can be quite powerful against a Terran army, especially a bio-heavy Terran army. Speaking of, that's a lot of Marines on the way. A lot of Marines are on the way, Medivacs as well. There it is, we are rushing right into that hive now. Because the hive just started, we should be seeing the lurker den momentarily so that when the hive finishes, we can start up lurker upgrades. Again, I'm assuming we're headed in that direction, but because that would make sense, but it's EON, and sometimes, you know, he does his own thing. This could just be hive tech for Roach Hydra Viper, which it works, sure, yeah, on paper, it works. But we'll see. We'll see if we do end up throwing down additional tech. For now, EON is on 64 workers. He's working on a 4th base. Likewise, Kozan is just turtling up back at, I say turtling up. He's just, you know, establishing his own 3 bases here. He's got his tanks in position, turrets as well, just to make sure that tunneling claw roaches do not make it past. And interesting, so it is not a lurker den. We get a spire? Okay. Alright, EON, let's go. Let's play some StarCraft as we are going Roach Hydra into Mutas potentially, or this could even be to rush into Broodlords. I'm very curious as to the direction that EON wants to take us. For now, it is just Roach Hydra, and I imagine Vipers. Like, Vipers are a very key part of this, I feel, and they can add a lot of utility to the army. But here comes Kozan pushing out across the map, and he's going to be running into a really peculiar army. There's no splash damage. There's no Ravagers for Biles. There's no Infestors for Fungals. This army from EON feels, or it looks really fragile. Viper is now on the way, but Kozan, he can get damage done. He can push in. He's being distracted here by the army, and here we go. EON, he comes in from behind. He takes down one of the tanks. At the same time, we do get a drop into the main base. EON doing a great job at buying time. I do think that Kozan can push forward. I do think that he can break into the natural even, but he's taking it slow and steady, and he's giving EON the opportunity to come back. To muster up an army to deal with this force as the tanks are slowly leapfrogging forward. There we go. The tank's now edging on closer here. The Viper has arrived, but pushing into tank fire like this, EON may lose everything. Good blinding clouds on the tanks, covering 3 of them actually. Oh my god. A lot of the Marines that did go down in the process at the same time drop into the main base. Drones are going down, and Kozan is forcing his way in between the natural and the third. He can push forward. We need the tanks, Papi. We need the tanks. Reinforcements are rushing across the map as well. And we are just cutting EON off from his own natural and main. The Viper is ready though for another blinding cloud. Good blinding cloud here, covering 2 of those tanks once again, but we have 2 more here shelling away at the Hydras. And the Hydras, they are glass cannons. They are so fragile, and they are going down. And that is every single Hydra falling. At the same time, 15 workers in the main base. EON has been broken, and Kozan is pushing into the natural. We do have some more Hydras in production, some more Roaches as well, but Kozan should be able to handle this. Again, this is just such an awkward composition from EON. Going Roach, Hydra, no Ravagers, no Infestors, no Lurkers. Roach, Hydra, Viper. Crazy. A very Heart of the Swarm-esque composition, and even then, maybe more Wings of Liberty than that. The Hydras are catching reinforcements. They're doing well for themselves, don't get me wrong. They're trading pretty damn efficiently, but we're breaking into the main. We're breaking into the main. We're getting on top of the tech as well. We have some Vipers on the high ground. Oh my god, a bit of a misrally here. 3 medevacs go down for free. Kozan, he's falling apart a little bit. But he's not even going for the main. He doesn't care about the main, not anymore. Maybe he should though. We get a full surround. Oh my god, we have a full surround set up. The tanks, they go down, and Kozan has to back off. He did so well with this push, but he's been picked apart. He bled out a couple too many medevacs for free. The tanks for free as well. And he does have to back off. EON doesn't have the best economy though. As another tank goes down. Oh god, we're being a little bit too wasteful here for Kozan. More Marines are falling, getting caught out. But this is still an uphill battle for EON. Kozan can still pull this off. As we do manage to yoink in another one of those tanks. The Marines are going down one after the other. The 2-2 upgrades here on the Roach Hydra kind of working. As EON is trying to bust into that natural again. EON is very all in. You can see that EON just doesn't have an economy to sustain himself. Likewise though, we don't really have the best production either here for Kozan. He is lacking add-ons. As a result, Kozan, he is banking up a lot of resources, a lot of minerals, a lot of gas. Kozan, he can't spend his money. And SCVs are falling. But Kozan, he just needs a moment here to recover, to consolidate his army, and he should be able to bust on through. The boys are being pulled. The Hydras are going down, but we have more Hydras on the way. Oh my god. EON, no shot. Is he doing this? He is. He's actually pulling this off. Again, Kozan, he's just having a hard time remaxing. The CC goes down. Kozan does have a third, or he has a fourth. It's now his third. It is a planetary. He's going to be picking up his main base, taking it as his fourth. EON just making nothing but Hydras, pushing on further. Heading towards that planetary. It is a planetary that I don't think he can touch the space. He has to respect it. He has to back off. You know, the tanks are getting in position. The Vipers are out of energy. Oh god, we do not want to stim into that. As EON is now working on +3 range. And again, I do still want to give the edge to Kozan. I want to give him the edge, but It's very positional based, and as Kozan moves out, EON is pushing in. I think maybe a base trade could be EON's best chance, but he's going for the army. Oof. He's going to be bleeding out some of these Hydras as well. Yeah, Kozan, he has hit critical mass. He's got a massive amount of Marines. He sims on forward and he can take the fight. He can go toe-to-toe with these Hydras. Everything goes down. The army gets cleaned up, and Kozan, he's done it again. He's broken the main army of EON. He's broken through. Tanks are repositioning. EON mustering up an army, but at this point, it should not be enough. Kozan should be able to force the ace match here. It should. As he sims on forward, a decent blinding cloud, but the Hydras are going down one after the other, and Kozan has done it. EON almost came back. He almost bounced back in this game, which was crazy. Should not have happened, but he almost pulled it off. The Vipers are going down, drones are falling, GG gets called, and Kozan takes game number 2. Oh, GG, let's go. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Oh, really, that's all I wanted. That's all I wanted from this Gibbs ace match. And yeah, GG, well played. When it comes to the game itself, really solid play out of Kozan. Nothing too fancy. It was, again, 3cc before Starport into Banshee, into Biotank. Really solid play there from our Terran player. When it comes to EON, that is where I have to be a little bit more critical. EON played a very interesting style, going Roach Hydra, eventually into Vipers as well. The downside to this army composition that EON was working on is the lack of splash damage, and you do need splash damage. Typically you need splash damage against a bio-heavy army, whether it's infestors, right, with fungal growth, whether it's lurkers, whether it's banelings, of course, but that's more Ling Bane, right? If we're starting with roaches, ravagers as well, biles, they can help out, especially when dealing with tanks, especially when dealing with even bio pushes like that. But no, EON, he avoided all of that and just went Roach Hydra, which again is not something you see too often. So I appreciate it. I appreciate that we're able to see something a little bit different here tonight. GG. GG, well played. As we're getting into the ace match and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the American Terran player representing Team Gosu, tying up the series 1-1. It is Kozan. And spawning the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the best player in all of Costa Rica representing Team License to Kill, LTK. It is EON. This composition is weak to mass lib unless they are stacked for your Viper AoE. That composition is weak against a lot of things. It's weak against Biotank, which is what we saw. Yeah, it's, again, just not something you see too often, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it nonetheless, just to see something different, just to have some variety in our matches. And obviously it's one of those things where it works. Otherwise EON wouldn't do it, you know? Like, he is one of these players who is able to make this work in the end. It's very reminiscent of Miyamika. Miyamika does something similar. This is where, I mean, we always give praise to Miyamika, but Miyamika, his variation is not Roach Hydra, but Ling Hydra. And it's more cost efficient, as you can imagine, because he is spending all of his gas on Hydras, not on Roaches. And the Lings do a great job at supporting those Hydras as a bit of a buffer and even surrounding said Marines and getting on top of tanks. It is something that just works and meshes well a little bit better, I would say. It's a more active style, but interesting nonetheless. Again, kind of a blast from the past. Roach Hydra used to be a very common composition back in Heart of the Swarm. You would see it more commonly against Protoss, but you know, I remember seeing it against Terran back in the day. It happened. Here we go. Behind this, we do have our openers getting underway. Hatch gas pool out of EON. Nothing too crazy. Likewise, Kozan back at home, setting up his own, what I imagine would be a 3cc opener as well. He's been doing the same opener every single game so far, and I don't see a need to change it. Oh, as he does get 2 drones? Oh my god. Yeah, 2 workers already. This Reaper with 2 kills. Very nice damage early on. EON having a hard time keeping up here with the control of Kozan. A little bit surprising. Yeah, for 2 workers to fall this early. Meanwhile, EON is working his 3rd base. Ling Speed is on the way. He pulls out of gas. So, for the first time this series, EON, he may play Ling Bane instead of Roaches. Meanwhile, there it is, 3rd CC. Into Starport, into Banshee production. I mean, we have the Tech Lab on the way. We should be seeing an add-on swap here between said Starport and Barracks. And yeah, we're getting into another standard opener. Very economic here out of Kozan. Again, he's been doing it every game so far this series, and there's good reason for that. With good enough scouting, you can kind of transition and deal with any kind of crazy all-in that your opponent is going to throw at you, and it does set you up quite well to get into the mid-game. So yeah, really solid setup here from Kozan. No need to really divert anything, as EON did invest quite a lot into these Lings. Oh my god, he does have 20 Lings. He's going to get us around as well. Kozan, a little bit late to react here with his Hellions. The Hellions go down, and now we can just wreak havoc in the natural. Ay. SCVs falling one after the other. 7 SCVs go down at the same time. Reaper gets into the main base. 3 more drones for what? This Reaper has 5 drone kills. How? how did that happen? That's crazy. Oh my god. And, you know, who was I kidding? I was like, yo, is EON actually gonna play Ling Bane? No. Roaches. Of course. It's, you know, it's his spirit animal. You know, he's very Dark-esque in that way. I know Dark is one that mixes in Ling Bane, but EON takes it to the extremes as it cleans up all the Lings. As Kozan at least cleans up all the Lings, regains control of his natural base, and EON with an economic lead is going into Roaches once again. It's a safe space. It's his comfort zone. He likes it. I respect it. Oh. Meanwhile, Banshee production is still just commencing here. We have the first Banshee zooming out across the map. We have a second Banshee on the way. There is no cloak, so detection won't be required. Again, the Banshees are just designed to get a bit of damage done, get some scouting information. Banshee confirms drones popping out of those eggs. So he's aware that EON is focusing on his economy. Lair in production. This should just be for Roach speed, as EON is getting into said Roaches, focusing on saturating his bases. And there it is. More drones are on the way. Part of me was like, I was holding my breath. I was like, yo, is he gonna, oh my god, is he gonna make nothing but Roaches? But no, he is droning. Meanwhile, there's nothing in position. The Roaches are at the natural, not at the third. The drones, they just popped out. They popped out, and they're gonna get roasted as the Hellions go to town in this mineral line, and 10 workers fall. And yo, we can even get the queen. We will get the queen. Ay. EON reaping what he sowed, as he was able to do some economic damage earlier. He killed 8 SCVs, but now he loses 10 more drones alongside the 5 workers that went down to that Reaper earlier. EON is in some trouble. And how do we come back? Dropper Lords. Overlord speed is on the way. We have Lings being sent into the main base. A Hydra Den is thrown down once again, so EON is going Roach Hydra for a second time. Let's go. As the Lings do dive into the main base, forcing quite a little smiting time actually, even delaying some of the production. The Marines do come back into the main at the same time. Hellions dive into that natural, and 7 more drones go down. Sure, we lose the Hellions, but against Roaches, the Hellions, they don't do anything anyway. They can't really go toe-to-toe in a head-to-head fight. EON's economy has been crippled. Kozan in the midst of taking his own 3rd base. But what about the army? EON is setting up a massive counterattack. Roach speed is about to kick in. Hydras are on the way as well. And even though Kozan has done a lot of economic damage, what about his army? He's got a handful of Marines. He has 2 tanks, 1 in the natural, 1 in between the bases. I don't know if Kozan can actually hold against this push. Especially not with these drop lords. We have a drop lord headed towards the main base. Once again, the Banshee comes back in. Another queen goes down. Oh my god. Oh, the Spore. Spore does take down the Banshee. And now here we go. Eon can focus on this push. The tank is unsieged. No. The tanks, both tanks. Oh my god, both tanks were on siege as well. The first will not fall. Hot pickup from Kozan. But we still have the drop into the main base to contest with. Workers are going down. Boys are being pulled into the Roach Hydra. A lot of SCVs will fall as a result. But the army gets cleaned up. Kozan dives on top of the Roach Hydra, cleans up the army. But he lost 26 SCVs in the process and counting. Kozan lives. He survives, but at what cost? As the drop is still alive here and even more SCVs are going down. Kozan just being pulled apart. Behind this, EON, his economy, good enough. It's good enough, Bobby. He's taking gases, working on the 4th base, remaxing here with more Roach Hydra. And Kozan, he's still struggling to build up his forces after taking all those losses. There we go, the drop coming back in. Can even force some friendly fire. He's up. Could even go for the tanks. Quick reaction out of Kozan. And he's going to at least deny one of these bases. Forces a cancel, but EON, he's double expanding. He's working on another 4th. Oh, no! Working on another 4th as the Hydras pick up some more Marines. So I do think Kozan will scale better once he gets fully saturated, but we are lacking saturation in the main. We're only on 46 workers. I feel like Kozan, he has to just turtle up and defend. But as he turtles, well, EON, he's going to get away with more bases and more droning and get further ahead. Oh. Nice use of the Viking. Takes care of the drop. Roach Hydra pushing in towards that natural base. At the same time, we do get a drop into the natural of EON. +2. +2 is going to be cancelled. It is going to be denied. But the drones, they're going down. Oh my god, these Marines are going ham and they're getting everything here in this mineral line. EON, he's losing his economy. He's focusing on his push, but he's pushing into 4 tanks. That is not going to work out. That is not going to work well for the Zerg. He barely breaks through the Marines. He's getting on top of the tanks in the end. And EON is barely breaking through. Takes down all the tanks, takes down the Marines. A contamination on the factory. We can't make more tanks. He knows that's what he needs. The boys are being pulled. SCVs are falling left and right, but we do clean up those Hydras. Marines, they race back home. They are heavily overstimmed. But it looks like Kozan will clean this up. But this is getting messy. This is getting very scrappy, Poppy. Very scrappy. As EON is just flooding Hydras across the map. Nothing but Hydras. And in high enough numbers, they can go toe-to-toe with these Marines. CC does burn down. Boys are being pulled, and oh my god, EON barely comes out ahead in this fight. Tank has arrived, and Kozan is stuck on 2 bases. He lost his orbital. He lost his 3rd. EON chilling on 4 bases himself, and he is re-droning. He's resaturating his natural. And we pick up the main. Let's go. 2 base versus 4 base, soon to be 5 base from EON. And all EON has to do from here, I'll be honest, is just drone. He just needs to drone and chill out. But it's EON we're talking about, so he doesn't know how to chill. He's going for some more drop a lord play. Now, I do appreciate this move out. Especially if he catches these Hydras. Oh my god. Up! Medevacs have been spotted. The Hydras, they do barely manage to survive. 2 of them go down. 3 of them even. 4! Oh my god. EON losing too much. Drop is coming in, but I kind of want Kozan to just commit. Scans ahead of time. Roaches and a handful of Hydras. We can fight this, Papi. We can go. Roaches, they drop in. 4 SCVs. So many workers are going to be going down. But Kozan, he just has to commit. Send it, Papi. Send it. Ah. As EON is trying to muster up his army, the tanks are getting within range. I feel like they are quite a bit far back. The hatchery will fall. And from here, Kozan, he can either try to push into the natural or take out these fringe bases. Which direction does he go in? He's going for the fringe bases instead. He's going for the safer move. Vials barely connecting, but the tanks, they're going ham on this army. EON losing too much. He cannot engage. He's trying to, but he's going to lose his entire army. Another bile will connect, but EON will lose everything. He has reinforcements on the way. Oh my god, as we're getting heavily overstimmed. I don't like this. The tank goes down. Tank barely does go down. 1 tank is left. And Kozan, he's going for the kill. He's going right for the Hydras, Papi. Once again, getting a bit overstimmed. Does have to be careful. As the final tank goes down, and yeah, Kozan, he's running out of steam. Without the support of tanks, he just cannot push in. Kozan throwing too much away, and he's been stimming everything. Oof, and this is going to be a rough fight for the Terran, as he has to back off and consolidate his army. He has bled out too much. Meanwhile, this base did not fall. So EON, he's still on 4 hatcheries. He still has an economy. It's kind of there. Oh my god, as EON is... God, the Hydras, they have so much DPS. The Roach is doing a great job at buffering for them. And EON, he breaks through the army, forces the boys to be pulled. More SCVs are going down. Oh my god, this is coming down to the wire. Kozan, he will clean this up, but he loses 21 SCVs. And there's still 1 Hydra left. Get the Hydra, Papi. It's doing so much. We need to get the Hydra. Ah! Oh my god, the Hydra gets a medevac. Jesus, and it survives. Yeah, the Hydras, they do so much DPS in the backline, and this one Hydra is the MVP here. Finally, we have enough Marines. Imagine if +2 wasn't denied. +2 would have been huge. +2 would have been game, actually, unironically. But it looks like EON is getting out of hand. It looks like, again, he's on 41 workers. He is able to sustain himself here by remaxing on more roaches. Because of the tank! Oh my god. The tank doing what it can in the back line. We're holding, Papi. We're holding. And from here, I think we just need to calm down a little bit. We need to chill, saturate our bases. I'm saying this to both players, by the way, because both players could afford to do that, but for now, we're committed. And Kozan is hurting. He's down to 29 workers. He doesn't have a main that he can lift as another base. That's already happened at this stage. I do appreciate this one drop moving out across the map. This base is still so low from earlier. We would have seen a different game if this base went down. We just have to be very careful though with how we maneuver. Instead of going for that 3rd base, he's going for the 4th instead. He will get a lot of drones, not as many as he could have here, but drones nonetheless. EON turns back around. Oh! Likewise, as Kozan moves out with a drop, likewise so does EON. Moving in with his own roach drop, looking to deal some friendly fire if possible. Oh no! Oh, as the Overlord goes down. Big loss for EON. Hydras are in position, but again, I kind of want us to try to thread the needle Again, this base is so low, we could maybe even try to snipe it. Got some transferring workers. Not bad. As we are building up our forces, we have our tanks +2 on the way. Lurker, the lurker den, the lunkers, they're finally on the way. That's gonna be the nail in the coffin. Like, we can't afford to scan. We've been muling our hearts out. We do have some energy for it though. As I say that, we just muled. Oh. We could actually clean up these hydras, but Kozan is going to respect them. He's backing off. He's going to run into another army instead. Oh no! Full meta that goes down. Big misstep there from Kozan. And a big win for EON. And he has survived long enough for the lurker den to finish. Lunkers are on the way. Now they are quite exposed. Could we maybe get on top of the lurkers? Scans, sees the lurkers. He's aware, but that was 2 scans. Ay. We don't have many left. We can't afford to scan too freely like that. Oh, as we scan once again and we spot the lurkers repositioning. That's all of our scans for now. You can see EON trying to set up a counterattack instead. Now, as long as Kozan can avoid those lurkers, he can push out. Meanwhile, we are forcing a base trade. Kozan, I don't think there's turning back from this. And I think EON is going to come out on top in this base trade. He's pushing him forward. He takes down one of the orbitals already. And the lurkers are in position. Oh god, are they on hold position? Oh god, no! No, GG gets called, and EON will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. Let's go. GG, well played. Oh, congratulations to EON for advancing on out of this series and taking down Kozan. Oh my god, but that could have gone either way. That was wild. That was crazy, Poppy. That was crazy. I was cheering for Kozan the entire time, I'll be honest. Like, EON's an animal. He's an actual animal. But he is also the cheesiest Zerg player in Latin America. For good reason. Good reason. He likes it. He embraces it. GG, well played. Congratulations to EON. My condolences to Kozan. Again, a solid performance, despite being retired and despite coming back after not really competing for too long. Really good showing nonetheless, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Hope you had a great time. Hope you had a great series. I hope you enjoyed the games themselves. GG, well played.